At the dawn of the 20th century, Imperial Germany's militarization challenged the balance of power. Today, China's strategy in the Pacific echoes these ambitions as it fortifies the second island chain. History may not repeat itself, but its lessons endure.
The parallels are striking. Like Germany, China is banking on technology and aggressive strategy to counter established powers. But history shows that the real test comes when plans meet resistance.
In 1914, Imperial Germany believed its military strength would bring swift victory. Similarly, China's strategy focuses on denying access and asserting dominance in the Pacific. The build-up to conflict often reveals more about the leadership than the battles themselves. In June 1918, the Battle of Belleau Wood became a defining moment for the U.S. Marine Corps. What began with rigid Napoleonic tactics of waves of infantry quickly devolved into a chaotic bloodbath across a wheat field. The initial assault, reminiscent of Pickett's charge at Gettysburg, saw Marines advancing in tight, exposed waves across open ground. German Maxim machine guns tore through their lines, resulting in staggering casualties. The rigid adherence to traditional tactics nearly cost the battle in the opening moments.
Belleau Wood's initial plan mirrored an outdated thinking of an earlier era. Direct frontal assaults that ignored the devastating power of modern weaponry. Like Pickett's charge in 1863, the result was a predictable slaughter.
As chaos unfolded, it was the frontline leaders, non-commissioned officers, and junior officers who changed the tide. Adapting their tactics to the terrain and situation, they dispersed their units, used the cover of the wheat, and coordinated small, decentralized attacks on German positions. When the initial waves were decimated, NCOs like Gunnery Sergeant Ernest Jansen ordered their squads to break formation, dispersing into smaller, harder-to-target groups. This reduced the effectiveness of German machine gun fire and allowed the Marines to move under cover of the terrain. Once in the woods, junior officers took advantage of the dense terrain to execute flanking maneuvers. Instead of attacking head-on, Marines crept through the underbrush, used natural concealment, and systematically targeted machine gun positions. These coordinated attacks disrupted the Germans' ability to maintain a cohesive defense. In the confusion of battle, traditional lines of communication broke down. NCOs improvised, using runners, hand signals, and even captured German field phones to relay orders and coordinate attacks. Junior leaders quickly learned to adapt the terrain to their advantage. Felled trees became makeshift barriers, shallow foxholes provided cover, and dense undergrowth allowed for ambushes that caught the Germans off guard. As the battle continued, Marine officers coordinated closely with artillery units to soften entrenched German positions. Forward observers directed fire, while NCOs timed their attacks to follow artillery barrages, ensuring maximum impact. The adaptations of Marine NCOs and junior officers turned the tide of the battle. What began as a near disastrous frontal assault transformed into a series of small unit victories that broke the German line and secured the wood. The Marines of Belleau Wood were not just following a chain of command, they were leaders in their own right. Middle management, whether in the military or corporate world, must ensure that the mission is executed while adapting to real-time challenges.
The frontline leaders at Belleau Wood demonstrated the same qualities needed in modern middle-level management, the ability to coordinate high-level strategy with the realities on the ground. Today's middle managers, much like those Marine NCOs and junior officers, must balance competing priorities, adapt to rapidly changing circumstances, and ensure that execution aligns with organizational intent. Their success is measured by their ability to think critically and act decisively.
But there is a danger that persists across time, Leaders, whether on the battlefield or in the boardroom, often fight the last war. They rely on strategies shaped by past successes, sometimes ignoring how conditions have changed.
One of the enduring lessons from Belleau Wood and countless other battles is that we often fight the last war. Military strategies are shaped by what worked in the past, just as companies rely on past successes to chart their future strategies. But in both cases, neglecting to adapt to evolving conditions, whether it's battlefield dynamics or market changes, can lead to devastating failure.
At Belleau Wood, the Marines didn't just follow orders, they adapted. In combat, plans never survive first contact, and the ability to pivot in the moment can mean the difference between life and death. Today, that lesson holds true for every leader who leads Marines in combat. Leadership is about making quick, informed decisions when it counts.
The lessons of Belleau Wood remind us that leadership at the middle is not a weakness. It is the strength that drives success. Whether on the battlefield or in the boardroom, adaptability, trust, and alignment with the mission are the keys to overcoming adversity.
The modern battlefield is much like the modern workplace, highly dynamic and unpredictable. In both, leaders must be prepared to adapt at a moment's notice, to trust their teams to carry out the mission, and to keep moving forward despite setbacks.